Imagine an anthill. An anthill is an excellent example of gestalt, or unity, which means many, many individual things working together for wholeness, or oneness, or completeness. All right? Here's, like, I would say this textbook definition right here, is when each element in a composition works together for the greater whole, creating a sense of oneness. Now that right off the bat does not sound closed mathematical, like, hey, there's a formula that we can use. There is an element of opinion, and there is an element of feeling and sensation applied to unity. But I will attempt to give you guys some solids that you can use to specifically know if it's got unity or not. Unity also means three major things. It means that everything works together for the whole. It means that each of the elements also rely on one another. They rely on each other some way. And then the third is that each element has a specific purpose and has its own place. So let me use an example of an engine, okay? So if you go up to an engine and grab a random hose and yank it out of there, it's going to change the way the engine functions because that hose has a specific purpose. And without that hose, other individual parts of the engine may not work that well, okay? So that hose may have connected like fluid to a radiator, okay, to keep the engine cool. All right, so that's how it should be in all of our designs. When we make something, we don't randomly drop things in. We do so for a specific purpose. So for example, the 5 has a purpose. It's there because it's in a dark place and it's a light number. And so the reason it was given contrast was so that we could see it and it would stand out very clearly. Okay? Likewise, this seal has a purpose. It fills up this negative space and makes it feel as if there's not a big honking gap in the middle of there, like this void of nothingness. Here is a foolproof way that you can know if an element is necessary or not. If you remove that hose in that engine, does it change the way the engine works? Okay? That's the way it should work with your design. So that's the first way, so that you know that it has a place. All right. So the next fun little bit about unity is let's look at some designs really quick and see how they apply. So right down here, we've got an example of unity, where everything works together as a whole. So we can see that this big honkin' design, how does it function together? Just looking at it, what's your gut say? One more time. Forms a rectangle, yes. Yeah, many little rectangles working together to form a large rectangle, all right? Here's an example of disunity, or where there is no unity. Do you see how now it no longer forms a rectangle? Each element is trying its best to do so, but all of a sudden one of them's out of place, all right? Which brings us to point number 2. How do we know if we've got unity? If we have a common relationship. And this is kind of fun. If you guys like puzzles, you can find all sorts of little tiny ways that elements are related to each other, and I'll show you a variety of them. But the way that these all work together is not, the relationship is not in their major form, but the relationship is actually how far apart they're spaced. That's one way. They all happen to be of the same shape. They're all of the same species of rectangle, right? They're all different sizes and scales, but they're all rectangles, all right? So they're common in form. There's a commonality in form there. You can have unity by sharing shape, sharing form. And I think this is the sneakiest one right here. You can have unity by alignment. How are they aligned? They are all aligned at 90-degree angles with each other. So this one is at a 90-degree angle alignment with this one, and so on. And the reason for that is because of the very structure of each individual rectangle, okay? So once we come over here, we got 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, forms a big old honkin' square. Oh, this guy's no longer at a 90-degree angle element with his pieces. So disunity, all right? Let's scroll down a little bit. Do we lose unity with this one? Or do we gain it? Do we keep it or lose it? Yeah, very good. So shape has changed, yes?
As far
Very good. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Unity is not broken. This brings me to a subcategory I'm going to share with you guys called variety in design. Variety. You're right. Unity is not broken. It retains its shape. Also, check it out. I drew these little lines, these little axes through it, center axis, vertical axis, and even did some here. They're all at 90 degrees from each other. So we still have unity and alignment. Also spacing. Do you see how far away the circle's spaced at its farthest edges? It's the same as its neighbors too. Spacing is the same. There's still unity. There's still elements in there that gel these things together. Okay, but just like Emily said, variety is when you change things up to draw emphasis. All right, so very, very critical. And I'll show you guys an example of variety here. All right, first of all, let's talk unity. How is there unity in this image? Different faces. Yeah. There's symmetry. Yeah. Yeah, we got bilateral symmetry here. Yeah.
This is a color change from left to right. So it's not like bouncing around randomly, it's like a good gradient.
Good. There's unity in color. So there is a conjoining thing. You know, it's not just red, yellow, blue, purple, little. It's a consistent shift. So there's unity with that. Good. Yes.
Several fragments of facial profiles, but together they create heads.
Yes. Correct. Yeah. So we got lots of different pieces of heads. They're profiles that gel together. All right. Now let's type in variety. How do they have variety in the profile shapes? Head profiles. Yes.
There are some with very sharp and crisp edges, and then there are some where everything gets a little bit more fluid and it flows a little bit more.
Yeah. Yep. Katie. Good.
They're all faces, they're not the same face. It's different faces with like turned different ways. So that way if it's kind of like the same face, like you get boring or repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
There's like different faces, different shapes. It creates a whole different shape, which is like
Good. All right. What's the unity here? They are all circles. They share the same common shape. One more time. Yep, they're on the same axes. They generally flow in one direction. Yippers. How is their variety?
different shapes.
Yes, shape, size, value. Good. You guys are getting this. All right. So that so what we've just addressed are the first two. One, how does it work together as a whole? And two, how do they rely on each other? How does it form commonality? Let's go to three. Number three. What is the third element of unity? And that is the elements have a specific purpose. Okay. So this is an abstract image. What purpose does each element have in here? And let's just look at this blocky one.
Brings it all together.
To do something? In like a square shape, you mean?
Just have the other three, and we don't have anything along that brings all together to make one big rectangle.
Yep. Yeah. That so you see how that's connected to the wholeness? You know, what function do they have? All right, let's tie over here. And Emily nailed it. I'm just going to skip really quick so we don't use too much time. But we can tell that the purpose of all of these guys, we could say, is to maybe frame, and the purpose of this is to emphasize, right? To draw attention to something because it stands out, right? Emphasis. Heck to the yes. All right, so if you break unity, here's one thing about these rules. They're not word of God. No one says you can't break a rule. But if you break a rule, it should be for a specific reason, a very specific reason. So you should be able to say, okay, there's a reason why I changed the alignment here is because I was hired to do a piece that is meant to make the viewer feel uncomfortable or to show a theme of whatever. You know, you could be hired to create a piece, design a piece that is against a certain type of government policy. And this might be your symbolic way of suggesting that it doesn't work, trying to cram a square into a circular peg hole. See what I mean? So you might have a theme that drives you to break the rule. You might have a reason to create a sensation because your piece might be designed to make people feel uncomfortable, so make the unity break. You know, that could be a reason as well. Yeah. Well, you guys are Rocking the house, you guys. All right, here's a fun thing. Whenever you work with unity, try to think of variety as well. So unity and variety. Here we got unity in form, variety in color. Here we got unity in color, variety in form. See that? So you can still try to capture the same thing. There's intentionality behind this. There's intentionality. Is that even a word? Yeah. So I wish I still had Katie's money up. Do you guys remember looking at her money? What are some examples of unity in Katie's bill that she had? And I'll pull it up. One more time. Okay, I'm sorry. I had a little hard time hearing both of you ladies. Let's do Emily first.
Oh, like the color palette of bills.
Yeah. So choice of color palette. All right, let's go into that a little more. What kind of color palette is that? Warm. Good. Choice of color palette. Now, quick question. Would we have unity if all of the elements, like if, say, it was money, but all we had were like circles and shapes and it was all randomly, chaotic? No, because we're not meeting all those three criteria. What are the three? Each element works together for the whole. Each element depends on its neighbor. And each element has a purpose. See what I mean? If you meet those three, you're golden, baby. You're golden. So yeah, it adds an extra layer to what you're already doing, but it makes for some really strong work. Okay, what's another thing of unity in the front of this bill? Yes?
I think I don't know how to say it, but her like statement or whatever. What did it say on one piece? It was like it's in a different language, right in the middle. But if that wasn't there, it'd be like a big empty space that kind of brings it all together. I think.
Okay. All right, so this kind of fills an area, occupying space. Of course, I might challenge one thing. We do know, we've learned a little bit about positive and negative space from silhouettes. You could use negative space to do the exact same thing. You could. Maybe the fact that there's words. Yeah, I get what you're saying, man. Yeah. How about pattern? How about use of pattern? Is there unity with the use of pattern in this? So unity is not too hard to do until the things start to work against each other. I think in terms of unity, this goes into what was said earlier in the critique. See, she's very black and white, but there's nothing else in here that's black and white or black and gray, right? So that we might be able to change that in terms of unity. Likewise here, but then again, breaking the rule draws emphasis. So it's kind of a, which direction you want to go with it. Does it support or does it, work against? Yeah, I would agree with you right there, man. Yeah. Okay, sweet. Let's look at some more. Okay, here we go. We already looked at that. There we go. All right, let's talk unity. Forms. Yep. What more? One more time. I couldn't quite make it out.
Well, the white ice cream cone is projected on the yellow ice cream cone. The yellow ice cream is projected on the orange. The orange is projected on the
Oh, so there's a relationship between the colors. I see. Okay. Yes, Emily.
So throughout the whole piece, it looks like there's color variation, but the entire piece is still mainly warm. They show the very yellow, green, very beige, white background. And, although the color palette is different, it's brought together by roughly the same temperature.
Exactly. Color temperature is huge. Yes, Miss Katie.
You notice like the white ice cream cone is like completely intact as you go through the line, it progresses to like slowly melting. So it's just kind of like different in that one, like it just keeps going the same.
So they get more and more messed up.
Yeah, so I mean it adds to that, like showing that it's like a progression. I don't know.
So we have variety because we're telling a story through sequence almost, right? Kind of like a comic strip. Different windows in time. This guy's been out longer than this guy. This guy's been out longer than that guy. This guy's been out, I'm sorry, the other way around. This guy just got placed out. This guy was second oldest, third oldest, fourth. Yeah, so there's unity in that. Yeah, right on, you guys. Cool. Okay, here's what I want to do. Somebody pick out a name brand.
Aeropostale, because I was there.
Nike, and then we're going to do Aeropostale after that. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at we're going to see a couple different types of logos. We're going to shift from Unity to logo types. All right. So as you guys know, or I think we talked about, corporations are legally recognized as people. Therefore, they have the same rights as human beings, even though they're composed of many human beings. Okay? Corporations don't have faces. Therefore, the main face that a corporation has is their logo or their icon that represents them. So when you design a logo, you want the logo to reflect the company. For example, Nike is a sports. We all know who Nike is. What if we had like a skull and crossbones for Nike instead of a swoosh? It wouldn't gel. So let's look at the Nike logo. And what I want you guys to do is, in terms of, remember, like form language and all that stuff that we learned, what parts of this logo suggest sport, suggest athletics? All right. Sullivan.
I think the check mark is kind of like get it done or something you have done.
Check mark.
It has a sense of direction.
Ah, okay.
So speed, how fast are you running?
I see. Motion, right? There's direction, motion. And what shape is responsible for motion? And an arrow is what kind of form? Like what shape, if you can break down the simpler one? Triangle, yeah. Going back to form language, triangles mean motion, forward motion or backward motion. All right, and like you said earlier, Ms. Sullivan, does this suggest slow or fast? Ooh, Mr. Gaines, or not Gaines, sorry man, Daniel, you said, did you say slow to fast? Fast. How come you think it's fast?
It's really big at that at the little area there, and then it gets to points. I don't know. It makes me feel like it's going from high to low, quick.
It's kind of like it.
Yeah. Okay, so you think from going to big to small makes it feel fast, and you said also the slant of the words suggest motion as well. You both are like totally correct. Did you guys know if you get an ink pen and you put it down and make a line, you're gonna have a blob and then a tapered off little, okay? That's pretty much the same thing that's going on. Also, you start with a bang and then get into a steady rhythm, okay? It's an arrow, it's pointing you on. We've got acceleration in the font type. So things that simple, like in terms of like angles and forms, communicate the nature of it, and it's an athletic thing. Did you have one more thing to add, my dear?
Yeah, I was gonna say like the fact that it's like all capitalized, like the words, like it suggests like it's bold, it's like making a statement.
Mhm.
So like you probably like I don't know, like for like another brand like a hospital or something, you probably like you don't want that or like something that needs to be like softer. So it just adds like
So let's try Walmart. Walmart redesigned their logo a while ago. So where the heck is images at? Ah, duh. Sorry, guys. All right, more. There we go. I was just testing you. Yeah, but like we learned about serif and sans serif fonts, this is easily accessible. For example, this is like climbing up a handicapped ramp versus the stairs, okay? So it's easier to walk up that ramp than take the stairs. That's why this makes Walmart a lot, oh, crap. This makes, well, okay, anyway, that makes Walmart more accessibility. We can relate to it more, right? Jenica, my dear, I'm so used to you that, you know, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, if that was offensive at all. Snakes! Okay, this is like one of those roller coasters that everybody can fit in, but doesn't have big bumps. Versus the extreme ones that you have to be like, you know, you have to have your health waiver signed off before they let you into it, all right? Yeah. Okay. By the way, you know the best roller coasters to go on are the ones that you see them hosing off after people are getting out. Yeah. Okay. So, all right, Aeropostale. Did I say that even right?
Aeropostale.
Postal.
I say Aeropostale, but then my managers correct me and they're like, it's Aeropostale.
Aeropostale. Like,
Aeropostale. Because
Aeropostale.
we have art senses.
oh, I see. There we go. All right, let's grab it. All right. So here we go. Let's take it apart. Oh, and some fun terminology for you guys. This is what's called a verbal logo. All right. What we just saw earlier was a nonverbal and a verbal logo. A verbal logo is strictly type. A nonverbal logo is strictly symbol. And what we saw with Nike was a blend of both. A lot of times you can get away with a blended one. You can get away with just the symbol or just the word or both sometimes. You're a lot more flexible if you have a blended logo like that. All right, let's take apart Aeropostale. Aeropostale. So before we go any further, tell us about the company a little bit, my dear, because she works there. We got an in on this.
All right,
Sales
well,
pitch. Let's go. 30 seconds.
it opened in 1987.
Cool, didn't know
Which
that.
is why they have 87 or 1987 like you have on your jacket.
Woo! That's from Aeropostale. I didn't even know that.
The more you know.
And knowing is half the battle.
The company is aimed towards a younger audience, mostly tweens and teens. Our team is real, and I wish I could remember the acronym that they taught me the first day. But you know, our style is all about being true to yourself. That's what they tell us. And our style is just a wide range for everyone.
Like super preppy.
Mostly impressive.
All right, so preppy might be a word to describe it. I'm hearing that just because I'm hearing that a couple of ways. Now, so what are some things that are associated with that category of class or people? Jeez.
High class, you can only shop here if you're this person, and America.
So kind of elitist,
I got a t-shirt there.
Like private schools.
It's not.
private schools.
So like Tommy Hilfiger and all those stuff we use like our microwave.
All right, so there's pride behind it, like national pride.
America, where you can buy clothes, but only shop.
Eh. So I got a question for you guys. You know, anybody have a Letterman's jacket? Does the font look anything like that?
Yeah.
So, sorta.
Like when you look at it, you get like a vibe like this is for high schoolers.
Yeah.
tweens.
Young people in a school system of some kind.
I just think California.
California, eh?
No, I just think California.
I do too. You know, like Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
I know too.
That's where I want to be.
Oh my gosh. Love it. Hey, all right, let's do another one. Let's pick one that's nonverbal, strictly a symbol. Well, that one's a verbal.
They're like
Well, that's a verbal one. We're going to do nonverbal because we
The Target holds up.
Patty.
McDumpsters.
Patty.
One more time.
Patty.
P-A-D-I.
E-I.
Ooh, Apple sounds cool. Professional ooh, diving instructor. Professional Association of Diving Instructors. I like it. Okay, cool. Never heard of it. That's awesome. All right, let's take it apart. Let's look at the nonverbal element. And I mean, besides the obvious of there being about diving, what else is going on in that sucker that tells you what they're about? Yeah.
It has like a kind of shape to it. So it's like a worldwide kind of thing.
Okay. Are they worldwide? Okay. There we go. Yes.
There's a scuba diver with fire, because they believe in fire underwater.
Setting flame to the ocean. What do you guys think that? What's the torch?
he's carrying the torch to have a good
Find
seafood
SpongeBob.
It's a beacon of discovery.
Ah.
It's lighting the way.
Yeah.
He's getting ready to sing the campfire song.
So you guys know in the Olympics, there's some dude who carries a torch, right? And that usually starts something. Usually your torchbearer in history would be a guy who leads the way so other people can follow. So that might be a suggestion of, again, like Aeropostale, elitism or like trustworthiness, leading the way, being in the front.
The world looks like a mix between like bubble wrap and like a keyboard.
Yeah, I love it. What do you think what's the meaning of the grid? Yeah. So out of the whole world, this world is structured. There's no place on this earth that you can hide from us being the best, is what they might be saying.
Notice all the little points on there?
One more time.
Notice all the little points, I forget how many there are.
These little, what do you call them, nodes?
Yeah. Each one of those counts for an original of the patty. And then the torch is for, patty specializes in deep sea diving.
Okay, for light.
We patty out to the most deep seers. So, is to find your way back when you're down low.
Find your way. Now, by you saying catering to most, that means that Patty would probably be the dominant name brand you would see amongst people like that, meaning that they're the world leading.
It's not the world leading.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments where if you talk to anyone, they know what patty is.
Exactly.
And they know where the local patty station is.
There you go.
By a lot of people.
So they're out in front. Sweet. So see how that symbolism communicates? I really like what's going on here. It's pretty interesting with their font choice.
So what's there like?
One more time.
It looks like a video game. It looks like an 80s video game. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
We're supposed to be the most technological advanced diving team. Which isn't really true, but why not?
I mean, they try.
So circuit boards do a lot of the things that's happened in that font. You got breaks, you got hard edges. It's just been molded. Yeah. Very blocky, which means structure. We got this triangle in here. So very blocky fonts. Tells you these people kind of know what they're doing. All right, let's do one more. Someone said McDumpsters. So here's verbal, nonverbal. What do you guys think about the logo? The sucker's loaded, by the way.
It symbolizes obesity.
Wow.
If you flip them up, I'm not gonna go there.
Oh,
Okay.
Well,
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Well, it shows red and yellow, which are two communicative colors. Red for hunger, yellow for energy.
Yep. Very good.
Curvy shape, like the twin arches. I mean, and some people think they're French fries. Either way, they're flat at the bottom. Structured.
So what I'm going to do just for the mic, so that people who watch this on the internet can hear. So just some of your color palette. You said red for hunger, the passion. Yellow for energy. You said there's arches in there as well. Just got a quick question. What kind of arches do those look like?
In Nebraska.
Yeah.
Also in Alaska.
If you expire and go into this afterlife somewhere, you think there's any association between heavenly arches? No? I don't think so either. Just throwing stuff out there. All right, what do arches represent typically in structure? One more time.
It's a framework.
It's a framework under which to go in and out of. Yeah, so this is welcoming. This is like come in. See this? It's like a portal, a door, an arch. Okay, physical support. And I got one more thing to add for you guys that you might not have known. This is genius marketing. Usually what's responsible the most for their flavor is that ketchup they use, which is red. And then their fries are like the same color. They're like this golden yellow. We're going to do a generic exercise. What I'd like you to do is take a total of 3 different logos. Those 3 are as follows. And I don't have a brief for you, so you probably want to write this sucker down. I'll get you the brief a little later. 3 logos. One 100% verbal, one that's fully nonverbal, and one that's blended, where it's both. And they have to be totally different companies. So like you couldn't do like just the McDonald's arches and then the blended one of McDonald's. What I want you to do is, I'd like you guys to dissect even like the unity, the balance, the contrast, all the design principles for each as well. What form will that take? Well, we'll do it in Photoshop. I want you guys to show an example of the logo. All right? One of them, pick 3 design principles and then show how those principles apply to the logo. So for example, McDonald's, we could talk about like contrast, balance, and unity. How do they make that work? Another one we could do like movement. We could do balance and then, anything like that. And then take apart like the other miscellaneous things like color theory or form language, all right? So like acceleration, like you said, movement, yep. Silhouette, what does this thing look like, all right? And I'll have a brief for you guys for now, but for the rest of class, let's get those 3 logos and then let's attack those bad boys.